News you can use.
Welcome to another edition of The Scoop, where we're providing news you can use in your daily life or maybe be able to pass on to friends or relatives. I'm Louise Thompson. I'm the Executive Director of Tampa Bay Community Network, a public access station in Hillsborough County. And with me today is Bob Terri, who is the Visual Arts Coordinator for Pyramid. Bob, tell us about Pyramid and what it does and its history.
Okay, Pyramid is an adult day training center here in Tampa. We're also part of a group of pyramids that are within the state of Florida. There are 5 other locations, of which are in the Panhandle, and then one in Hillsborough County. We're on Sly Avenue, right near the zoo.
Adult training for whom? You didn't tell us.
These are programs for developmentally disabled adults.
From ages?
22 and above. Folks that are developmentally disabled could be in the public school system in Hillsborough County up to the age of 22. Once they reach that, then they have choices of other programs that they can go into or other activities or educational opportunities, one of which is choosing an adult day training center.
How many folks are in your program right now?
In the Tampa program is about 150.
Do you have a waiting list?
Yes. Well, in the state of Florida, there's approximately 18,000 folks on the waiting list to get into day training centers throughout the state, and that number fluctuates. I have never seen statistics that are exacting, but it can go anywhere from 10 to 18,000. Today's newspaper mentioned 18,000, but that's a fluctuating figure.
And those are people that have been...
They have been recognized or have been
tested or something?
They go through an eligibility requirements through the state, through Agency for Persons with Disabilities, the state of Florida, and they're determined to be eligible for programming such as this, but their qualification must be prior to the age of 18. Once you pass the age of 18, you cannot qualify for any programming.
Okay.
Yeah, and
because now it's a different problem.
Correct,
is that what you mean?
Correct. And
explain that developmentally disabled,
okay.
though. You know, Bob, there's so many different categories now and labels that we used to use different kinds
There
of...
are 5 determining factors for eligibility. The primary ones are mental retardation, cerebral palsy, spina bifida, Prader-Willi, and autism. And then there are secondary, such as spinal injuries.
You mentioned one I've never heard, Prader-Willi.
Prader-Willi.
What is that?
That is it's very hard to describe, but it is a continuous need to ingest matter.
Matter?
Anything.
Paper?
Paper.
Ice cubes?
And paper, ice cubes, and it goes on from there. But it's a continuous need to do that. It's an unending need to do that.
Okay, so these folks showed some signs of this earlier than 22.
Correct. In the state of Florida right now, folks that are 5 years old to 18, there are children obviously being born with disabilities or issues from 0 to 5, but they are not included in the numbers at this point. I don't know why.
I'm hearing there's this like huge increase in autism, or the diagnosis of autism, and not sure exactly why that is. Did they broaden the definition, or are we having a big problem?
As far as autism goes, I know the spotlight is on that, and I think there's just more abilities to diagnose and recognize.
Okay, so so they come into your program based on this eligibility and then being on a waiting list, I take it.
Correct.
They're not, now you're not doing residential housing, right? This is all out.
The pyramid programs are not residential. A lot of the folks that come to our programs are in group homes. Some are with their families or family members or caregivers at home. Most are in group homes in Hillsborough County.
They're not group homes run by Pyramid, though.
Not at
You're
all.
separate
No, we are
of
not
that.
residential at all.
They might be Project Recovery or
Project Return has some residential component to it.
North Side.
They serve other populations.
MHC does too? No.
MHC does too. They all have different specialties and qualifications and eligibilities to be in their programs. Ours happens to be this.
So if they're enrolled in your program, do they come to your facility?
Yes.
And what do they do there? What kind of services do you provide for them?
Right now we do have life skill training, which could be language, basic academics, math, English, computer work,
So these
Sign
folks,
language, Spanish language, English, a variety of life skills, working chef, kitchen work and stuff like that. Then we have our core is the arts, performing as well as visual arts.
so they get to be on stage
Yes, they do.
and they paint.
And they paint and create. And we use art as the core for a holistic training, whole life training.
When you say language and so forth, I'm thinking that they might also have a physical problem too. Is that possible?
Right.
Like maybe they couldn't hear?
Right.
Or something?
Within the range of developmental disabilities can be sight, could be hearing, could be a verbal, nonverbal. It varies greatly. It swings in all different directions. There's no one specific thing that we deal with every day. It's completely varied.
What are the ages of the people in your program right now? Or
Well, it's
have
20
been?
right now. Well, it starts at 22 and will go as much as into the 50s. So it's a
So you
very
have
broad
people
population.
of
Very broad.
that age in the program, or even older
Yes,
than that?
yes.
Wow.
Right, and they're engaged in the arts, whether it be performing arts or the visual arts, and they're quite successful. Very exciting thing to do.
You said you had what, over 100 folks?
150.
And do they come out of your program so you make room for new ones, or not really?
It'll vary. They can move on to other programs because the other things that are going on, let's say at somewhere else where they could put more of a training cell, let's see, workshop setting where they'll be putting things together and they can assemble. They like to do some assembly. So they can move from program to program based on their own requests and choices. Because everything is based on choices. They work with a support coordinator that is made available to them through state funding. And that support coordinator helps them make choices and to use their funding for the betterment of their life.
Oh, they have a set amount allotted to them,
Correct.
and they may or may not use it for this particular.
You can use it for education, you can use it for life experiences, you can use it for meaningful day activities.
We're going to take a short break. We'll be back in just a minute. Welcome back to The Scoop. I'm Louise Thompson with Tampa Bay Community Network, and with me today talking about developmentally disabled adult programs available to all of us in the state of Florida, or a lot of us in the state of Florida, is Bob Terri. He's Visual Arts Coordinator with Pyramid. Once again, where are you all located?
We're located on Sly Avenue, right here at the Lowry Park Zoo.
In Tampa.
In Tampa.
And you have how many?
5 other locations.
5 locations?
They're all located in the Panhandle.
Okay, and if people need services who are not in those areas, they should get in touch with the Florida Department or Florida Agency
for Persons with Disabilities.
for Persons with Disability in
They have an
Tallahassee.
office in Tallahassee, correct. And they have regional offices throughout the state, and they can help you with program information.
Tell me about the art that some folks are creating who are in your program.
Okay. We're built around working studios, and the philosophy is all of the folks that choose to be in the program are coming to work, and they are working every day in the studio. They come in between 8 and 3.
Your studio or
yes,
somewhere else?
The studios are there at Pyramid.
Okay.
And they're going to work. And everything that they produce, if it is sold, they will receive 50% commission, just like any other gallery.
Oh,
We do have a gallery and a gift shop on campus, and you can purchase anything you want at that point. And again, they will receive a commission off of their work. They work in all various media. And the media is based on their choices, things that they've discovered, something that inspires them and motivates them, or something they'd like to try. And we will develop, or I will develop around them or facilitate for them to create these pieces that they would like.
Are you bringing in art teachers from elsewhere?
We have 2 other art teachers on staff that are part of the program.
You do it too?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so
Yes,
they're
we're
working
in studio every day.
Are they working in oils or acrylics?
Mostly acrylics. We do 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional drawing, pastels, chalk pastels, oil pastels, watercolor, pretty much a full broad spectrum of media, and as well as sculptural, clay, found object, anything that will
Mixed
work.
media, for example, too?
Totally, yeah. And some of the images that you'll be seeing reflect what they do.
Are these people who are in your program, did they have art before
Some
they
of them,
came into your
some
program?
of them have had experiences through the school system or through their at home, and they have felt they wanted to continue and wanted to explore more. The whole point is to expose them to the arts, give them some education, and then have them experience it.
Why
So,
was arts picked? Just out of curiosity. It's not like
philosophically, yeah.
we're not picking basketball.
Right.
We're picking arts because
Ultimately, it's their way of communicating and integrating them into the world, because obviously, along their life path, they have been isolated and or set back within the community. This now brings them and introduces them into the community. It makes them part of the outside world, because their art is speaking for them. And once you see their work, it draws you into, well, everybody gets drawn into art, and it's like, well, who is that artist? What motivated them? I want to know them. What's going on here? And then suddenly you discover, oh, this is who they are. They are like any other artist producing any other kind of work, and I really appreciate it. That's a wonderful thing.
Bob, what kind of themes do you see? Are they varied, or is there something that you recognize as someone coming out of this shell or something?
That's one of the things I've always told people that do visit the gallery or the gift shop, that all the works are as diverse as they are. And I think that's one of the beauties of art in general, but also the program, is they are allowed to totally express who they are and what's going on in their life. And they can use any subject they want, and they're not limited. I have not built a program necessarily around everyone learning the same techniques with the same subject matter, which is somewhat typical of art programming. This is totally broad-based, based on the individual. We try to set an environment that could be non-punitive and just create, and we'll figure out how to get there. So it's very experimental, very lab-like.
Do they? I've known several artists in my life, and some of them are don't want to name a piece, although you want to say, "Could you please name that?" So I'll know where you were going with it.
Yeah.
And some of them are very unusual like that. They'll just say, "No, I'm doing it. I actually do it to see what your reaction is, not what I'm conveying." Do you see any of that, or do
Both.
they name their piece?
Yes. One of the things, beauty of it is how they verbalize after it's complete, and then they tell me about it. Or while they're going through the process, it's storytelling for them. It's telling the world out there, or to me when we're in the studio with the other instructors, what's going on in their mind or what's going on in their life, whether they verbalize it or just create it. And it develops from there. And many of them do name their pieces, and that's what the name of the piece is. And
Even if
I
you
may
saw
not see
something
it.
different.
I may not. Oh, absolutely. And I think that's part of the excitement of it. Very recently, I've had some folks visit the gallery, and I was explaining that what may seem very abstracted to the general viewer, if you look at the piece a little bit more, and then you start seeing cognitive imagery come through, and it becomes a little bit more exciting because there's really more there. Just take the time, and we discover.
They what do some of their work sell for? I mean,
Usually, it'll vary so greatly. Some of the least expensive paintings probably would be in the $50 range, maybe up to about $300. They vary. The substrates that they're on, it could be canvas, it could be paper, it could be on wood. The sizes vary.
the length of time it
Like
took them
this-
to
yeah,
put it together.
There's so much. Well, it's very typical of an art studio.
Right.
What's been created is created. There's no limitations.
Are they framed too, or?
Yes, that's a really good point that you bring up. All of the frames that are on these pieces have been donated. Every single frame.
From frame stores around
There
the
is
area, or
there's a
people
frame
just-
shop called, I don't know if you
No,
can
it's
say
fine.
the
You can
plug.
say.
Okay, it's Frames and Things in Temple Terrace, and they have been absolutely wonderful. They have provided every frame for every piece in the place. And everything we sell, including the matting. And Celia McGibbon, who owns the shop, has been so generous. Folks that go in for framing, let's say they're changing out a frame, she'll ask them if they would like to donate the old frame to us, and that's what they do. So her customers are then involved with our program.
That's great. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back in just a minute. Please stay tuned. Thank you. Welcome back to The Scoop. I'm Louise Thompson with Tampa Bay Community Network, and with me today talking about developmentally disabled adult programs available to all of us in the state of Florida, or a lot of us in the state of Florida, is Bob Terri. He's Visual Arts Coordinator with Pyramid. Bob, tell me about, you just told me about some of the arts they do, the visual arts. What about performing arts?
We do have a component for performing arts. We have wheelchair dancing.
Wheelchair dancing.
Wheelchair dancing,
Okay.
chorus, and other combinations of ensemble, singing and music appreciation as well. The groups, the Pyramid players, do perform throughout the state, as well as certainly locally. And there are opportunities that if a group would like to have them come over and do a dance or sing a couple of songs, they're welcome to do that as well. Just contact us and we'll make arrangements.
Are these the same folks that are also doing the
Yes.
visual arts, or
Yes.
is this like a
Well,
different group?
Some of them, there's an overlap. We have what I refer to some folks that are really Renaissance folks, because they like to paint, they like to draw, they like to do three-dimensional work. They like to work in the deli, making sandwiches. They like to sing, they like to dance. They just would like to do it all. And this is a great opportunity for them to try it all out.
What
Some of
kind
them are
of-
really proficient at it as well.
What kind of shows are they doing? Are they doing shows about their particular, are they writing their shows, or are they taking shows from that
They're
are
involved,
already-
again, we're built around choices, so they will be included in some of the selection of the music they'd like to perform or be part of. It tends obviously a little bit more thematic than art would be.
They make their, are there folks that also script
Yes,
shows, or do?
we're introducing script and learning scripts and interacting and doing staging.
Can they
as
write
well.
music too?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay.
We're doing some, I know that we're working on some individual performing, such as introducing guitar playing, trumpet. Just trying to, a lot of it is assessing that there may be someone there who has never been introduced to guitar or to pastel or any of these media. So suddenly they've been introduced to it. Again, expose them to it, educate them, and then they can experience it. And that's basically the philosophy across the board. So it's very holistic, and try to touch every area with them, and then suddenly something will be inspired, and
These
something
are folks
happens.
that this wasn't tried out probably when they were younger, correct?
More
and
than
now as we
likely.
have schools that don't even have art and music like they used to.
Correct.
I mean, we all had art and music growing, growing up.
I did as well.
Yeah, we old folks.
Yeah.
Now they
Yeah,
don't. They cut
we
these
actually
programs
thought
first.
the arts were part of the world. You know, it's part of our
Yeah.
culture, and suddenly we're dropping it out as funding gets reduced. The arts, unfortunately, become marginalized, and then, of course, it's going to affect a population like this.
Because, and there probably isn't any data that was, at the time, that it was presented to all. It may have decreased or...
There's no way of
Yeah.
knowing what
Yeah.
classes they were able to attend in a public setting, whether it be here in Hillsborough County or anywhere else. There's no way of knowing their participation and how it now gets extrapolated to this period of time in their life.
Or how well it worked when people had it to
Don't
begin
know.
with, which would
We
be
really
great
don't know.
data
But
to
we know now. We know now, being in the setting, the effect of it and the impact it's having, and we know it's got great impact.
Now, you also do cooking.
Yeah, we
So
have a
in your
deli.
newsletter- What is that about?
Yeah,
You have a deli on your premises?
Well, we have a cafeteria.
Okay.
And everyone usually brings their lunch with them, or takes their lunch with them. We have bring and take. But on Thursdays, we have a thing called Brown Bag Deli. And a number of our students work in the kitchen, preparing sandwiches and pizzas and salads, hot dogs and
This
chips.
is for the public or for-
And this is for our other students.
Okay.
And it gives them the opportunity to purchase a lunch. They make choices off the menu, and participate in that whole deli environment, which is really wonderful. Now, if somebody comes over and someone comes over to visit, they want to buy a sandwich, they're welcome to do that as well.
I saw in the newspaper today this program about the need that we're having for more programs in the state to service these folks. And the people who were quoted, this mom and dad, were talking about, I don't really need service now. I need service when I'm gone because I'm worried. And I've known some folks that have had disabled children, and that's a problem. So when they're learning this, is this something like in the cafeteria that, or even with the art, that perhaps they can actually do later, and if their parents are gone, there's no...
Well, a lot of the folks that are attending the program are not with their families already.
Oh.
So it's not a case of whether they're with family at home and then suddenly they appear in our program. Any family that has someone who has disabilities of any kind really needs to check out and see if they qualify and are eligible. And I know the waiting lists are long, but you're better off trying to get on a waiting list than waiting too late. And once 18 hits, you're done. There are very few opportunities for you to have and engaged in meaningful activities.
Is there something we left out for the viewers to know?
Oh, this could be talked about for a very long time because of the effect of being disabled from childhood all the way through adulthood, and how you become in a situation where you need services. And services will vary based on your needs as you develop or don't develop. And your interests are also there, right?
So people need to tune in as quickly as possible.
They really do. And
thank you very much, Bob,
sure. Thank you for having us.
For being here and explaining your program, and I hope your phone rings off the hook.
Right.
Thank you for all tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
News you can use.